Hey, what's happening? What's happening? What's happening, peeps? It's a great, beautiful day here in LA. Just thought I'd start this quick hangout a little bit while I'm at work, but it is what it is. So I want to talk about a few things here. I'm gonna mix it up, like I mentioned in one of my prior videos, that I'm gonna be focusing not only on boxing, but I'm also gonna be focused on the NBA, the WNBA, and the NFL, whatnot, and some various topics here and there. So, which I will get to in another live hangout video, and so that way I can get anyone's opinion on it. But something that's totally out of the realms of sports. So, yeah, let me start this off by addressing another bitch. Okay, the bitch in Taiwan. Now, he made a quick, he made a video response to John Boxing, but he started the video by saying that justice was served when I was being condescending and being so being condescending to Low Place. Well, in case you didn't hear, you missed a lot of things that's happening. Okay, let me tell you something, you little bitch. First of all, Low Place is the guy who's been running around and trolling everybody's fucking channels when it came to his fucking boyfriend, Adonis Stevenson. Okay, when I mentioned that he was emotionally attached to the guy, he exploded just out of nowhere. I kept it calm. Okay, but yet when he kept yelling, so I decided not to yell it back. I said, okay, fine, all right, if you want to act like a little bitch and act like a little child, then that's up to you. And he got more upset. So that's how this whole thing went down. Okay, so the point of the argument is this, and you know this better than I do. You know this. When you set me off, if you disrespect me, I'm going to be condescending right back to you. That's the way it goes. I'm a very retaliatory guy. Okay, so you going out there telling everyone that Low Place was being respectful or not? No. The guy is not a respectful person, okay? He's not a respectful person, okay? He goes around, contradicts himself a lot. He goes around, tells everyone, just like your stupid ass, that they don't know shit about boxing. But yet, when we challenge you on historical boxing facts, you have a problem with it. Oh, no, don't talk about history. I don't know boxing like that. It's like, well, okay, well, in that case, you and him don't come out there and criticize people if about their boxing knowledge, and the fact that you guys openly admit that you have no knowledge of boxing history. So don't do that, okay? So it seems like when it's a problem with you and him, that when I bring this up, you guys just just get highly offensive about it, okay? So the fact of the matter is this: not only that you're the bitch over in Taiwan, Sean Newton, you also got the other bitch in Low Place who's a Sean Newton in the United States. All right, so both you guys have similarities. You both contradict yourselves, and both of you make outrageous and stupid ass statements, okay? Like, the one particular one, I mean, to be honest with you, it baffles me that you have Lomachenko pound for pound #1, all right, over Andre Ward. And then at the same time, you come out and criticize people who has Terrence Crawford pound for pound #1 over Andre Ward. And yet you have yet to explain why did you have Lomachenko higher than Crawford or Andre Ward particularly. So yeah, so don't come out here and spew all the bullshit that you said in that video, okay? And you made it. Again, let me remind everyone that he's made his entire channel platform criticizing anyone's opinions. He doesn't have no originality on his videos, just like Low Place to some degree. He's been criticizing people's opinions as of late. All right, that's all he's been doing when it comes to Adonis Stevenson. So, that again, this goes to the point that both guys are mostly attached to certain fighters. I mean, it's very psychotic. I mean, it's a psychological disturbing issue when it comes to situations like that. But the point is this. All right, let me go ahead with that said. Now, if you're man enough to come on to a live hangout with me, I'll be respectful. I won't mute you. I won't overtalk you. So let's come on here. Talk to me man to man. If you got a problem, if you got your problems like you have with the LDBC, then, let it all out. I'll welcome it. All right? Yeah, so another thing before I get into this, drift to another topic. Before I get into that, I got to say one thing. I let you off the hook for a long while because I've been so occupied with Low Place and his shenanigans, all right? So, now you're back on my radar. So now I'm going to troll both of you. You and him. Both of the bitches. So I'm coming after both of you. Believe that. Okay. Now on to some other stuff here. So, Paul George and the Los Angeles Lakers, well, not Paul George. The Los Angeles Lakers will find over $500,000 for the tampering of Paul George. Okay, so according to the report here, I know I'm a little late on it. According to the report here, the NBA has announced this fine. Okay, so they've been fined $500,000. But that was it. From what I'm reading, there's no other sanctioned fines. Okay, and let me see what else here is. Actually, let me read the actual statement by the NBA. It says here, quote, the NBA says here, the National Basketball Association has announced today, this is back on August 31st, that it has fined the Los Angeles Lakers organization for $500,000 for violating the league's anti-tampering rule. This action followed the independent investigation by the law firm Wachtell, Lipton, Rosen, and Katz. The conduct at issue involved communications by Lakers general manager Rob Pelinka with the agent representing Paul George that constitute a prohibited expression of interest in the player while he's under contract. While he was under contract, I should say. The penalty reflected a previous warning issued by the WNBA to the Lakers regarding tampering, following comments made by Lakers president of basketball operation Irvin Magic Johnson about Paul George during a April 20th national televised appearance. And I remember that appearance. I was on the Jimmy Kimmel show, on Jimmy Kimmel Live, when he said this. I mean, he was joking. I mean, why would anybody take that seriously? But hey, the NBA took that very seriously. It is what it is. So anyways, the investigation did not reveal evidence of an agreement or understanding that the Lakers would sign or acquire Mr. George. The NBA's anti-tampering rules prohibits teams from interfering with other teams' contractual relationships with NBA players, including by publicly expressing interest in a player who is currently under contract with another team or informing the agent of another team's player of interest by one of owns team in that player. Now, I find that last statement very confusing because players interact with other players from other teams all the time. And from my understanding, from my recollection, Draymond Green was very instrumental in getting Kevin Durant to sign with the Golden State Warriors while he was signed with OKC. So, that I find that very odd. So why didn't Draymond Green, if this is the case, then why did Draymond Green get sanctioned? So I don't quite understand that right there, number one. And number two, so basically, there's no other penalties, fines, because I would assume they're going to, be sanctioned by losing their draft picks for the next 2 or 3 years, just like how the Minnesota Timberwolves were sanctioned. They were fined. The Timberwolves they suffered a heavy penalty back then with the Joe Smith situation. Not Joe Smith Jr., not the boxer, guys. Let's not get it confused now. I'm talking about Joe Smith, the basketball player, Joe Smith, who, turned out to be a bust. But Joe Smith situation, the Minnesota Timberwolves organization was fined $3.5 million. Plus, they had to forfeit three first-round draft picks, and they suspended the parties involved for like 1 year. Kevin McHale, who was the general manager of the team at that time, and what up, DCB, bro? What up, man? This is one of my first 3 hangouts, man. So I'm just trying to get used to this environment right here, man. Yeah, so I'm just talking about some stuff, man, dressing some people, who I'm talking about, man, dressing the bitch in Taiwan and dressing the bitch over here, too. You know who I'm talking about, low place, both of them. And I'm talking about the, basketball at the same time. So, anyways, yeah, I'm going to get to that in a second, man. I'll get to Kubrat Pulev and Anthony Joshua in a second. Yeah, well, you and I would agree to disagree on that. I think Pulev is a good fighter, but I think Anthony Joshua should handle him with pretty ease. That's just my take on it, but I'll get into that in a minute. But let me finish this situation with the NBA, with the Lakers situation. So the Lakers only got a $500,000 fine. There's no suspensions involved, so they don't lose their first-round draft picks. So, yeah, man, I agree. Because, you know, these guys got a nerve to come on here talking about that we're not respecting them, and yet they constantly disrespect us on a daily basis when we're not paying attention to them. So this is the reason why I say that they deserve to be trolled. Now they understand that they don't like, you know, what it feels like to be trolled all the goddamn time, but yet they constantly do it. So this is why I don't understand the double standard. It's okay for them to do it, but when I do it to them, it's a big problem. They victimize themselves, and I don't like that. You know what I mean? That's being hypocritical, you know? So, yeah, you know, anyhow, but the Lakers are, you know, they got a slap on the wrist. But I also read another report that Paul George, particularly Paul George's situation, Paul George actually was working out with Dwayne Wade here in Malibu a couple of days ago. So I don't know what that's all about. So they were working out, they were, you know, shooting hoops here and there. So, I mean, I don't want to read too much into that. So, you know, that could be an indication that, you know, things could happen over here. So Paul George could be coming over here. And Dwayne Wade possibly could be re-signed. I don't know. I thought Dwayne Wade re-signed with Chicago. I don't know. But, yeah. Yeah, what do you say here? Their hard work is needed to make me grow. They just need to drop links wherever they talk about me. Yeah, I see what you're saying, bro. You know, I see what you're saying. It's just like, yeah, it's just like, you know, we try our best to ignore these guys, man. We try our best to do it, but sometimes you got to respond, because it's like this dude constantly goes on people's channels. You know, just the same day when he got upset with me in that hangout, when he constantly muted me and, you know, cut off my mic and all that stuff because he was upset that the librarian kicked him out of the hangout, right? So basically, in that same day, he went after another guy who had his opinions about Donna Stevenson and the Lydia Alvarez situation. It called him stupid. I think he called him, you know, he was uneducated or some shit like that. And the guy took offense to that. So I'm like, wait a minute. How the fuck you get mad at me for being condescending towards you, but yet you go around troll everyone's channels, being condescending or whatever the case may be about Adonis Stevenson? I don't understand that. So, you know, you're just a hypocrite. But yeah, man, all teams do the same thing. I agree. This is what I was just saying. All teams all team players from opposite, you know, all players from opposite teams hang out, they talk, and yes, they persuade one another to sign with another team if they you know, if their contracts come up at, you know, before the free agent market opens, whatnot, and you know, signings happen. In fact, Bill Coward actually made a good point about this, or Jim Coward, I'm sorry. He made a good point about this. He said, look, when the free agency markets opens up on July 1st, I believe that's the date, right? You get like 9 or 10 signings happen on the same day that the free agent markets open, on the first day. So that's why this anti-tampering rule is very, very complex to some degree. I mean, it's not complex, but there's some loopholes you could get around that, number one. And like I said, and their rules, you know, specifies that no player or no executive from any team should be talking to the opposing team's players when they're currently under contract. But yet they do this all the damn time. So why, like I said, why wasn't Draymond Green sanctioned for that situation? You know, that's just my take on it. Okay, I mean, LeBron James, wasn't he instrumental for bringing J.R. Smith over to from New York to Cleveland? I mean, wasn't J.R. Smith under contract? And then they brought him over to Cleveland because LeBron James wanted it. I don't know. That may be a different situation while the trade market was still open or something like that. I don't know. But anyhow, yeah. So the Lakers are not. There's no suspensions. They only get a $500,000 fine. They're going to go ahead and go to their business as usual. And of course, Peter Vesey's the guy who broke the story, because he's the guy who has sour grapes over how he got blackballed by a lot of people in the whole basketball realm. You know, Peter Vesey, the longtime columnist and commentator and whatnot. You know, he got kicked off of TV many years ago, you know, when he was a TNT analyst, and then Charles Barkley took his spot on inside the NBA, and then he was momentarily working for after that he was momentarily working for I think it was Fox Sports, whatnot, and then they got rid of his columns too. Like, he was a New York Post columnist, whatnot. So they got rid of all his columns, and now he's freelancing on writing on Patreon. and you have to pay a fee to get access to his articles. So Peter Vesey's probably be salty. You know, he's had resentment towards Magic Johnson over the years. You know, he has a resentment towards Charles Barkley, Sean Kemp, you name it, all the old school players. But anyhow, yeah, so that's the thing about the Lakers situation that I wanted to address. Now, let's move on to some other stuff here. So, well, yes, so it looks like the Lakers are in the clear. They can go ahead and sign Paul George because there's nothing here that says that they're prohibited from signing him. So, yeah, slap on the wrist, man, slap on the wrist. So let's talk about something else here. Anthony Joshua and Kubrat Pulev. Let's get into that. Yeah, so the fight is signed. It's official. October 28th. It's set to go. It's going to be at. And where's the venue? Where's this going to be? It's going to be at Cardiff. Okay, yeah, the big stadium in Cardiff. So, it's funny, though, because I kind of knew the Pulev when he put out the statement on Facebook about him not agreeing to the terms while his management and his promoter were negotiating terms for him. When he said he didn't approve of it, I believe that Pulev was trying to milk the situation. I really believed he did. Maybe when he looked at the terms, all they waited was for his signature. Then he's like, nah. He probably was trying to milk the situation. So when he came out and put the statement. So, yeah, so basically, yeah, obviously the fight's set up. You know what? That's a good point. I mean, Pulev has fought, Klitschko. He lost, obviously. He lost. But he's got Alexander Ustinov on his resume. He's got Derek Chisora. But as far as Kevin Johnson and Samuel Peter, no. I can't give Pulev credit for those fights because those guys were way over the hill. Samuel Peter made a comeback momentarily, but obviously he was way inactive. He's out of shape. Kevin Johnson was coming out of retirement. I mean, and he couldn't even knock the guy out. So I like I said, Pulev, I mean, he's a good fighter. He's a good fighter. But to me, it's like after the Klitschko loss, he's been, he's been psychologically torn from that loss, and he hasn't. I don't think he's really gotten over it. So it's been 3 years now, and yeah, he's been fighting guys like Johnson and who else? As I mentioned, Johnson and Peter. Chisora, I'll give him some credit for, but other than that, and Ustinov, I'll give him credit for, but other than that, yeah, man. Yeah, sorry about that, man. Connection issues. So Pulev's a decent fighter, man. He's a decent fighter. So, but at the same time, I think Anthony Joshua should be able to handle him with ease, in my opinion. I think he should handle him. Well, you may never know. This is a heavyweight fight. Anything can happen. So, I mean, Pulev is a skillful fighter, but I think Joshua should be able to handle him with. I don't think he'll be much trouble for Joshua. That's just my opinion on it. So yeah. What else did you say, bro? Oh damn, sorry, man. Hold on. Having issues with this phone. All right, let's see. Oops, my bad. Let's see what else. If Wilder hasn't fought anyone, who the fuck is Pulev at? Okay, I got you, man. I got what you're saying on that. All he has done is beat Chisora, and who everyone else beats and gets knocked out by Klitschko. I mean, yeah, it's a good point. I mean, Chisora. I mean, you can argue Chisora's his best win. I agree with that. It's his best win, and Chisora is a decent fighter himself. But yeah, I mean, but the thing is too, man. Look, I'm gonna just be real with you. Pulev is the mandatory. He is a mandatory challenger. He is in that position, and I didn't like the fact that Pulev he declined to take the fight against Joshua last year when the IBF ordered the fight initially, right? This was last year. They ordered the fight, and then next thing you know, when he declines the fight, Eddie Hearn walked up to him, and I think the IFL TV caught the interview. I think they're the ones who captured this moment. Eddie Hearn caught up with Kubrat Pulev. I think it was in a hotel lobby somewhere. So he caught up with Pulev, and he asked Pulev, and said, wait a minute, why did you turn down a big opportunity to fight my guy Anthony Joshua for the title? So Pulev just smiled at him, and he walked away from her. And that was at that time. I'm like, wait a minute, why did the IPF did not rescind his mandatory spot when he declined it to take it when they initially ordered the fight? So that's how the Eric Molina fight got set up, since Pulev declined to take that mandatory opportunity at that time. But he was still able to keep his position. So now we're in a situation where, you know, this is where a lot of conflicts came to play, where the WBA came out and said, wait a minute, you have to fight our guy first, because you guys signed an agreement that you would have to, you agreed that our guy would be the next in line as far as the rotation is concerned. Then Pulev will be right afterwards. So Eddie Hearn, you know, probably went to the WBA and got them to reconsider their decision, and, you know, the Pulev fight is made, and then Ortiz would be next. So basically, look, I'm fine with, look, here's the thing. I don't want Anthony Joshua to get stripped. I want him to keep his titles, and I like Anthony Joshua. He's one of my favorite fighters. So I want him to keep his titles. Get your mandatories out the way, cool, so be it. And as far as Ortiz is concerned, yes, he deserved his shot too. He's been waiting for a very long time. Very long time. So, you know, here's the thing I look at it, man. I'd rather have Ortiz fight Wilder than, I mean, at this point, I'd rather have him fight Wilder than more so than Joshua. What else you say, brother? Man, Pulev, to me, is an average fighter. All these second-tier dudes need to stop fighting each other. I mean, it's a good point. It's a good point. He's a good fighter. But, you know, again, it's just like, I think you brought up a good fight. I think all the heavyweights in general need to start fighting each other. They do, and I think Hatman brought up a good point in his video about the heavyweights, because if you look at all the top heavyweights records, there's a lot of guys who are undefeated. There's a lot of them undefeated, and the reason why they're undefeated is because majority of them are fighting lower tier opposition, and they're not fighting each other. So it's now time for them to do that, because there's so much talent in that heavyweight division, man. So much talent. I think it's far more talented than the other weight classes right now. So, and the thing is for them, you know, they got to step it up, man. They got to start fighting each other. They have to do it. TBA 50, TBA 50, the best ever. Is Lopez really a pedophile? You know what, man? Look, I don't know. I'm not going to get into the dude's personal life, but, I mean, the way he's behaving and the way him and Sean Newton agree with each other all the time, most of the time. So, I don't know, man. They both have tendencies when they have these emotional attachments to certain fighters. And yet, all they do is, when they make videos, all they do is make responses to people's opinions. That's all they do. So they both have similarities. What did we just say? What else you say, DCB? Let me see, brother. Wilder versus Ortiz should be next. And for the love of God, can Parker actually get in the mix? You know what, Parker? You know, here's the thing about, man. Let me just say this, and you might not agree with me on this one. Joseph Parker, I think, is going to get in the mix after the Huey Fury fight, which I find out now that they're having TV, you know, they can't even get a TV deal for that fight. And that's not Joseph Parker's fault. I'll get into that in a sec. I think he's trying to get into the mix, man. I really believe he's genuine about it. I think what his management team wanted to do is just like get him, introduce him to a new market, which is in the UK. So that way they could better position him and get a Joshua fight. But I also believe that he wants that Wilder fight as well. I really believe it. I really believe it. I know there was a situation where the WBC was willing to let the unification happen between Wilder and Joshua. From my understanding, and I could be wrong about this, from my understanding, I think that the WBO had ordered the fight between him and Fury to happen, and the purse bid was called, so that prevented Parker from trying to get the unification done. That's from what I've heard. That's what I've heard, because once a purse bid is called, you can't get a unification. You can't get no exceptions after that. So that's my understanding. What else you say, bro? In my opinion, Wilder does need to step up a bit, but Dan, I don't know, man. If you saw my last video, I mean, look, man, I agree with you a lot, 100%. You know, most of the time. And you and I hardly disagree with anything. But, you know, there's sometimes we're going to agree to disagree. But you know me, man, I highly respect you for your opinion. You're very strong opinionated, and you make a lot of good points. So, you and I rarely disagree on something. But you know what, I'll check out your next video and see, I'll add my thoughts to it. But, yeah, like I said, man, it's a good dialogue. Wilder will not get credit for beating Ortiz. I think Ortiz is very good, but I think Wilder beats him by knockout. You know what? TBE, I think you bring a good point. I think the majority who does not like Deontay Wilder will give him credit. They will give him credit, but I think it's going to be into a sense where, okay, if Luis Ortiz somehow ends up getting, he gets into a decline in some degree, then maybe they're going to say, you know what, you fought a guy that wasn't good. I mean, that's where he's going to get to that point later down in his career. And yes, and I'll say this too. I have been very critical about Deontay Wilder, man, myself. And I ain't gonna lie to you, I have. So, and the thing is that, and I was telling people, look, I understand you guys is about how you guys feel that Wilder is not doing enough as a champion. I agree with that to some degree. I do agree, but at the same time, he's still a champion. Number one, we have to acknowledge that. Number two, he still has a career. So he is trying to right the wrongs from what happened. Yes, he probably blames himself for how his career has been handled after he won the title. I'm sure he does. Now he's trying to do the right thing by fighting Ortiz and other top tier heavyweights. He's trying to do the right thing now. So you got to give him credit for that. Yes, I can't give him credit if the fights don't happen. I understand that, but that's what I'm telling people. His career is still there. You can't write him off just yet. That's what my whole thing is. Yeah. Like I said, we all know that Wilder doesn't have a great resume. But like I said again, man, I just think that people who criticize Wilder too much, I think it's gone overboard. I think that they have to acknowledge that he still has a career. He still is, you can't write him off. It's unfair to Wilder that he's getting written off, and he's still trying to make the big fights happen. And he's very close to doing that now. So we got to give him some credit for that. We got to wait one of these deals get signed to deliver. Now it's time to give him credit. So I see what you're saying, man. Let me see. TBE 50. I think ESPN will make the Canelo versus Triple G pound for pound number one. You know what? Well, you know what? I don't know about pound for pound number one because that Top Rank is now signed to a multi-year deal with ESPN, which could possibly mean that ESPN could host fights on pay-per-view. I don't know, but the way ESPN is going right now with their motives is it seems like all their top ranked fighters are getting the top spots in the pound for pound. Majority of them, they're high profile fighters, I should say. So I don't know about Canelo and Golovkin. I think HBO will be doing that. They'll be handling the pound for pound rankings after that fight's concluding, and they'll put pound for pound number one. So we all know that pound for pound is very subjective. So to me, whoever's winning that fight, they definitely move up on the rankings on the pound for pound list. But I don't think they go pound for pound number one. No, they're gonna have to. Both guys are gonna have to do more. They're gonna have to do more than what Terrence Crawford and Andre Ward has done. They're gonna. So as far as Teddy Atlas having Lomachenko rated pound for pound number one, I find that laughable. I'm not saying that Lomachenko doesn't deserve to be in the rankings, but to me, I just think that pound for pound number one, where he's still got ways to go to accomplish a lot of things as far as the level of opposition, his accomplishments is concerned, he's got ways to go. I think putting him on number one is a bit, I hate to say it, it's a bit laughable. That's just my take on it. And not taking any credit away from Lomachenko. He's a good fighter, very good fighter, but he's still got ways to go. That's just my take on it. DCB, what else you got, man? I just don't understand how some of the names I was getting he should fight not sound like he should step up to me. Are you talking about Wilder? And now we're seeing a lot of haters wanting the Ortiz fight, not advising Ortiz not to take the fight. That's a good point. I saw some contradictions on that too, because for years, Wilder, people were begging Wilder to fight Ortiz, and believe me, man, I was going after Wilder for being dismissive about Luis Ortiz. Now that the fight's going to happen, more than likely, people are trying to write that off, and I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. I thought you guys wanted him to fight Ortiz for a long time. Now you're trying to discredit that? That's why I didn't get. So, it's a good point there, man. It's a good point. It is some people just can't, be consistent. So man. So, like I said, Ortiz will fight AJ. No way he's taking Wilder to fight for less money. Well, TBE, there's a problem with that. Ortiz was waiting for the outcome of the WBA and the IBF decision on who the next mandatory was going to be. So now then it's announced that Pulev is the next mandatory, where the fight's scheduled for October 28th. Ortiz is not going to wait around because he does have an title opportunity to go after Deontay Wilder. So at the same time, Ortiz and Wilder were negotiating, and they pretty much were set to go. They were just only waiting for the outcome of the sanctioned bodies on the Joshua and Pulev situation. So if the Joshua Pulev situation was going to go through, then Ortiz and Wilder will be made. So I think we'll expect an announcement for that fight, an announcement for that to be confirmed probably within the next few days, I would assume, because they had the date and the venue booked already. They just need to finalize everything, during a official press release. Yeah, you know what? I agree, man, because, DCB, if he doesn't take the fight and they were negotiating and then he takes another fight elsewhere, yeah, that's a duck. I have to agree, because you can't sit there and negotiate you can't sit there and negotiate one fight, and when the deal is about to be signed to deliver, and the Wilders and champions willing to sign on that deal, and then all of a sudden, when you're waiting for the outcome of the sanctioned body situation with Joshua and Pulev, and then you take a fight elsewhere, that to me, I'm going after Ortiz for that if he does that move, if he pulls that, because come on, man, there was a championship fight waiting for you on the dial line. You've been waiting for an opportunity for a long time. You've called out Deontay Wilder for years, and now the opportunity is there, and then you go elsewhere to take that opportunity to make that fight. Although you couldn't get the Joshua fight at the time you wanted, I think that's Luis Ortiz not getting the pass for that. So, what do I think about Stavern and Brazil? I think that's gonna be a good fight, man. I think it's gonna be an interesting fight. If you notice, in Brazil, in most of his fights, man, he hasn't been in boring fights. And the thing about Dominic Brazil, the thing that worries me about Dominic Brazil is that he has a style where it's very swarming and very it's very swarming style. He's a pressure fighter. He's going to take a lot. He's going to absorb so much punishment to the point that he's going to try to knock you out. He's going to try to get to you and take you out. So he's willing to take more punishment than dish out the punishment, because he's waiting for his opponents to tire out. Just like what happened in the Israel Ogano fight and the Amir Mansour fight as well. So Dominic Brazil, he's got heart. He lacks a little technique. He definitely got heart. I mean, you got to throw a kitchen sink at the guy to really knock him out. But to me, I don't know, man. Stavern is he's a better technical fighter, man. He's got better technique. He has a very effective style than Brazil. So I have to go with Stavern on this one. Even though Stavern's been on nearly a 2-year layoff, I think Stavern will be, I favor Stavern to win the fight. I think he'll win it. Yeah, I think Brazil is trash. He gets knocked out. He plays right, in my opinion. So, what else you got here, brother? I think in the minority on this. I do. The weight disparity is the problem here, and the question of welterweight, he can't make that weight anymore. So, I don't know, man. I mean, is Mikey willing to go up 2 more weight classes to fight, to forget? I mean, let's not pretend it's never been done before. Manny Pacquiao's done it before, so I mean, it's an interesting fight, but definitely favor Cotto to win it, especially if it's at his comfortable weight. So yeah, so basically, Mikey and Miguel is going to be, it's an interesting fight. I mean, like I said, I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll wait to see, because Miguel Cotto is looking for one more fight. That's going to be in December. I stand corrected. I thought he was going to retire after the Yoshihiro Kamagai fight, but yeah, I think that what you call it? I think that he's gonna have to. I don't know, man. Dude. Well, we can't really tell Miguel Cotto what he wants to do in some degree, because he's been through tough battles throughout his entire career, man. He's been through some tough fights, tough wars. So, he's at the end of his career. He knows it. So there's no point for him to take a dangerous fight at this moment. There's no point for him to do that. So if this is going to be the last fight, while you've already proven yourself, you've taken on the best of the best, you've been in a lot of wars, you've been in many dangerous fights, then I can't fault you for fighting a lower tier opposition in your last fight. So we can't really fault him for that. So, we got to give Miguel Cotto his respect in that area. What do you think about Mikey not getting love for the pound-for-pound ranking, and who do you want to see fight next? You know what? Mikey's actually rated pound-for-pound number 9, and the last time I checked, he is on the pound-for-pound rankings right now. So, he's there, man. You can go ahead and take a look at the list. He's there on the rankings on the pound-for-pound list. The thing about David Lemieux, the thing about that he's waiting for the Cotto fight, but let's be realistic. David Lemieux, if he really wanted to get that Miguel Cotto fight, I don't see Miguel Cotto fighting him, because Lemieux is still a dangerous fighter, even though he got ran through by Golovkin. He's still a dangerous fighter. And the thing about David Lemieux, he's a notoriously big middleweight, okay? The guy's had trouble making that weight for a pretty long while now. Now, Miguel Cotto is no way in hell is going to fight this guy at the full 160 limit. If the fight was going to happen, it's going to have to happen at a catch weight. Now, the thing is that I really, really doubt that Lemieux could even make can get below 160, to be honest with you. I really doubt that he could do it. If so, that he's really killing himself to do it. So, if that fight were to be made, I'll be very shocked. I'll be surprised if Miguel Cotto agrees to be at the 160 limit. But, again, I agree. Lemieux doesn't really do much for Cotto at this point. What is he going to gain from that fight? This is going to be his last fight. You could say that, well, he beat a world champion at the end of his in his last fight. Kind of like how Michael Carbajal did it when he came back, came out of retirement and got a one-off fight against Jorge Arce. Obviously Jorge Arce's been, he's been ruined. In my opinion, he's been ruined after that Michael Carbajal fight. But it is what it is on that, man. Yeah, so we'll see, man. We'll see how that turns out. So, hey. So, man. Yeah, so what else is going on in the boxing, man? Hey, are you looking forward to the upcoming super flyweight bouts, Roman Gonzalez versus Ramasai rematch, and Carlos Cudras and Juan Estrada? Are you looking forward to that fight, and Naoya Ioane, his debut from Japan? Fairly so? Yeah. Yeah, you know what, though? Here's the thing. For many years, the minimum weights, the flyweights, and, they haven't really gained. It's not really a rich, those two divisions are not really rich, So, as I recall, it took many years for, like, the featherweights and super featherweights to gain a rich reputation. It took many years. And it all started, in my opinion, I think it all kind of started from Stanley Sadler and Willie Pep, because those are the two guys that made that division so rich when they had their battles over in the early 50s, whatnot. So, and Stanley Sadler, low place want to talk about dirty fighter. I suggest he look up Stanley Sadler. So. I understand where you're coming from on that one, because the super flyweights, in my opinion, actually is a very good division. It's a stacked division, and I think it does need to have some type of needs some shine, in my opinion. Well, hey, Roman Gonzalez is a good fighter, man. He's a good fighter. And Ramasai, let's not take anything away from Ramasai. Ramasai actually had some pretty good wins before he fought Ramon Gonzalez. He was a former world champion. So, yeah, so he's been there before. Yeah, what up, Max Rider, bro? I am live, man. I am live. One of my first hangout. Well, this is my third hangout, so I started my first one yesterday, man. Started my first one. 2-for-1 version of Manny Pacquiao. Oh, man. You killing me, brother. You killing me. Yeah, man. Yeah, but, yeah. Yeah, are you talking about Roman Gonzalez? His last opponents were fake Manny's, were debut opponents. I mean, Ramasai definitely was not a debut opponent. I think he fought Rory McWilliams too before that. So, and he fought Brian Varela, and those are very good fighters. Yeah, man, Max Rider. I was addressing that earlier this video. I was addressing that bitch over in Taiwan and the other bitch by the name of Low Place too. They both bitches, in my opinion. All right. I was addressing both of them. All right. If you recall that I had a hangout yesterday, not on this channel, but it was on Low Place's hangout when he was going after the LDBC, and he's now trying to start a war with them. Oh, okay, brother. All right, my bad. My bad, DCB. My bad, man. Low Place, Max Rider. Yeah, Low Place got mad because he got mad at me because I said that Donna Stevenson. I told him that you're yeah, man. He's attached to Donna Stevenson. Why are you emotionally attached to the guy? And he exploded when I said that. He kept muting my mic. He tried to lower my volume and make me look bad. And the fact is, it was funny as hell when I was listening to the hangout afterwards, right? So I was getting a little upset about it, but at the same time, I sat there and I was being calm and I was laughing at him because he was mad at me because because I was on a hangout with the boxing librarian, me and him and Mr. Doc, right? He got mad at me because the boxing librarian had muted him and booted him out the hangout right after he made the comment that Mike Tyson was still in his prime condition. Well, he was in his prime, but he was still the same fighter when he fought Buster Douglas. And we were trying to tell him, it's like, dude, did you actually see the Tyson Douglas fights? And did you see the fights before he fought Douglas? That was not the same Mike Tyson who fought Buster Douglas. And he just didn't want to listen to us. And it was just, come on. Obviously, anybody with common sense and rationale will tell you that the Mike Tyson that fought Buster Douglas is definitely not the same fighter that fought guys like Trevor Berbick and Tyrell Biggs, Michael Spinks, Pinklin Thomas, Tony Tucker, and others. That was not the same fighter. And, he's talking about he knows what the hell he's talking. He's telling us that he knows about boxing. He knows his boxing. He knows about boxing history, all that shit. And then when we challenge him on it, he then later admits that he doesn't know boxing that much. Your boy already, yeah, Dan, you already know you can't win against us in the city. We run this shit. Hey, man. Hey, we run, we rep the West Coast, man. You know that, man. Last team were debut fights. Really? Ramasai actually had been there for a long time, man. Just that he never gets his fights televised. Let me check on that, man. Yeah, man. So yeah, Max Rider. So this dude puts a video out. He again attacks John Boxing, and he started off by attacking me, saying what I did to Low Place was very condescending and disrespectful. While Low Place has never been respectful to some degree, all right? The guy's going around trolling everybody's channel when it comes to his... I told him, every time somebody has an objective opinion, you go explode. These threats of these stupid... Yeah, so again, I'm sorry about that, y'all. Connection issues. But yeah, again, I told him. All right, and this is why I said this to the other guy in the time. Weird. Or my opinion, it's disturbing behavior, man. It's very disturbing. And then, a 50-year-old man behaves this way. It's just, I don't know, dude. I don't know. So, how do you know Margarito calling out Miguel Cotto for a third fight? Miguel Cotto will go for that a rubber match with Antonio Margarito. Yeah. Yeah, well, I don't get any responses on that, so I guess nobody has an opinion on that. But I'll repeat, whoever's watching it, and then you guys can chime in while I speak for a few more minutes. What do you think about Antonio Margarito calling out Miguel Cotto for a third fight? Do you think Miguel Cotto's going to replace him? I mean, it's not replace. You think Miguel Cotto's going to take the fight? Yeah, boy, man, come on, man. I think they released him from the state hospital in San Bernardino. Hey, man, hey, they both need to be institutionalized by the way they behave, man. Both of them, they both got psychological issues. I don't know what it is, you know. Oh shit, man. Yeah, I remember Patton, brother. I remember. It's all good, man. It's all good. You got it right. I think you got it. So, yeah, you know what? We know that. Hey, y'all see him? He's in the comment section right now. Yo, little play. You listen, said they connection broke ass the West Coast side connection. Hey, shut the fuck up, nigga. Yeah, your goddamn nursery rhymes is whack. All right, don't come on here and talk that bullshit. All right, should you be send on your boyfriend Adonis Stevenson? Anyways, back to while I wait for this dude to respond. So anyways, let me get into some other news here. So the Lakers, I already talked about the Lakers. The WNBA playoffs are today, so I'll be looking into that. Tonight we got Dallas over, the Dallas Wings against the West Washington Mystics in the first round, and then we got the Seattle Storm versus the Phoenix Mercury. So that's going to be televised tonight on ESPN2. I gave you my thoughts on those two games. So I definitely am going to favor the Mercury to win the first fight. So, and then I mean the first fight. Damn, I'm talking about the first game. I definitely favor the Mercury to win the fight. Win the game. And then I have Then I have the Dallas Wings beating the Washington Mystics. All right, your boy Low Plays. You sound like you got crystals floating around your chest. WNBA greater than the LDC. They keep y'all females shaking my. Hey, y'all see what this dude, man? This nigga, he's something's wrong with this dude, man. Something is wrong with this dude. First of all, you coming here and disrespecting people. You disrespected the LDBC. You see what I'm talking about, man? We see what I'm talking about? Hey, what up, Fat Apples? Yeah, I actually talked about Joshua Pulev earlier, but I'll go ahead and get into that again. So, let me get to this thing about, this dude's coming around. He's trolling everybody, man. I'm telling you, dude, if you want respect, if you don't want people to troll you, like I just said, stop trolling everybody else. You keep it to yourself. How about that? Yeah, no problem, man. Yeah. What are you talking about? What are you talking about, dude? I mentioned your connection. You start Jonathan. Dude, I am not part of the LDBC, but I know the brothers very well, man. I respect them. Man, get off that damn goddamn crack. All right? I respect those brothers. And I'm not ashamed of that. I respect them, and I'm good friends with them. So, damn, you got a problem with that, then that's on you. Yeah, so anyways, back to the Joshua and Pulev. Like I said, Fat Apples, I favor Joshua to win the fight. I think he should have no problem with Pulev. And I also mentioned the fact that, of course, we were waiting for the outcome on the sanctioned body situation between the WBA and the IBF, because there was a lot of confusion there. And so that Eddie Hearn did reassure the WBA that he will, if Anthony Joshua, whoever the victor is, they will have to fight Kovalev. Well, yeah, whoever the victor of that fight is, that he will have to fight Luis Ortiz. So I think he got that done. And Eddie Hearn is a straight-up guy, so I'm glad that they got the deals in place. But now Ortiz does have an opportunity to fight Deontay Wilder. So while Ortiz shouldn't be sitting around waiting, he should definitely be fighting Deontay Wilder now, because we already know that deal's already been put in place. So I definitely favor Joshua to win it. And Pulev, on the other hand, Pulev, his last opposition, other than Derek Chisora, it hasn't been quite as impressive. So, I'm not saying that he won't put up an effort. He will, but I don't see him winning that fight. Yeah, Fat Apples, I agree. Possibly 4 rounds, AJ win. I don't think Pulev can handle the pressure like Orange or Klitschko could. Yeah, totally agree. And the thing about Pulev, that he's very open, and he stands straight up all the damn time, and he keeps his chin up in the air. So that's what it is. Low plays. This dude is disrespecting again. Okay. Hey, you should be glad you ain't part of that pussy toasty group, lying ass grown men, where they do a side pick is, I want to call them chups. You see, you writing on the 4th grade level, bruh. That's why I tell you need to go back to school and finish up and get that GED. Okay. First of all, now I'm actually on the DY double N bag, not meth. All you talking about, yo boy. Yeah. First of all, dog, you see what I'm talking about? All this disrespecting. Okay, the LDBC don't make no comments about you. But here you are trolling them. You're trying to start a war over them because they have an objective opinion about Donna Stevenson. If you don't agree with it, just say, I don't agree with you guys. That's all you have to say. But here you are calling everybody liars, calling them pussies. And yet when I troll your ass, when I call you a bitch, when I say that you're doing the same, I'm trolling you for the same exact reasons, you got a problem with it. And like I said, if you don't want to be trolled by me, trolling them. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, like I said, I think Ortiz is lower. Is what you call it? Is older than he looks. So definitely, there's a bit of an age discrepancy there. But if his birth certificate says that he is what his age, then we got to go by that. Low play says here, Pulev resume is greater than Wilder, but Wilder is a super fight with Joshua. Yet Pulev ain't. All right, first of all, if you want to talk about resume comparisons, Pulev's greatest win is Derek Chisora, okay? Before that, he fought Alexander Ustinov, which is okay wins. But Deontay Wilder remains Stavern. But Stavern is far more accomplished than Derek Chisora, okay? And by the way, Wilder, on the other hand, actually beat 2 world champions, opposed to Pulev, who hasn't beaten any world champions. So, what do you... Come on, dude. Come on, don't do this to yourself. Leo Place, your boy says, yeah, fuck Stevenson. Yeah, he's a fuck boy. And Fat Apple's like, talk to me, Low Place. Why the hate, son? I'll mediate like a Bride Mayweather. Oh, Bride Mayweather ref. That's kind of cold, Fat Apples. That's kind of cold, bruh. But again, as far as the resume between Pulev and Wilder, that's debatable. But the only thing I say Wilder has an upper edge on Pulev is that Wilder actually beat 2 world champions as opposed to Pulev. Pulev doesn't have any world champions on his resume. So, but as far as Pulev is concerned, yeah, cool. The resumes, yeah, it's debatable. But as far as giving the edge, I give it to Wilder on the resume department. Well, I mean, Chisora, let me see. No, Chisora is far more accomplished than Deverne, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I respect your opinion, man. You know, there's always disrespect. There's no disrespect there. Chisora lost to Klitschko and Fury. Yeah, I would Deverne. I would agree, but I would disagree with the fact is that you know, even though you fought better opposition, that doesn't mean you're more accomplished. Okay, what matters most is that getting the win on your resume. That's it. That's what matters the most. And Severn, I think his best win is against Chris Ariella. We can agree on that. That's his best win. I think that's his best win. Pulev beat Thompson. Chisora fought Wilder. Okay, he beat Tony Thompson, but was Tony Thompson a world champion? He's a good fighter, yes, but that Tony Thompson was way over the hill and was shot. He was never a world champion, so come on. Each of their own. Yeah, I mean, yeah, good point, Fat Apples. Good point. Good point. Good point. All right, here we go again with this. Just because you fight better opposition does not mean you're more accomplished. Get out of your head. It will make sense if you actually beat that opposition, little place. Why we got to keep going through this, man? It's simple logic. If you beat better opposition, you fought better opposition, you beat them, then yes, you definitely get high marks. But if you don't beat them, yeah, you get some credit for fighting them, but what matters most is getting the W on the resume, what's on paper. That's what matters. I don't understand why you keep trying to write history to suit your agenda. I don't know why you keep doing that, bruh. Yeah, Tony T is better than Ariella, but, you know, we all know that Tony T, that version of him was, like, totally over the hill, totally shot, man. That's true. Well, Wilder beats Severn, obviously, he's got, what's the other guy? Sergey Lahovich, too. Those are two world champions right there. Yeah. Thompson was ranked higher through his career. Yeah, but what I'm getting at is that version of Tony Thompson when Pulev fought him was definitely not the same guy. He wasn't up there at that time when Pulev fought him. Like the debate between Kubrat Pulev and Deontay Wilder is debatable. It is debatable. But just in my opinion, I think Wilder just has a slight edge over Pulev. That's just my take on it. I'm not saying I'm not saying it outruns Pulev by a wide margin. No. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is it's just that it's debatable, and I just give Wilder a little bit of an edge there. Now, as far as Joshua and Wilder, yeah, Joshua definitely got the edge over Wilder on the resume department. Definitely got the edge. Definitely got a good edge at this point. Yeah, he does get my respect. You know, he does win against that definitely, strengthens his resume. In my opinion, we all can agree on that. So, yeah. So, Tony Thompson, hold up, guys. Can you hear me, yo, boy? Hit so, come on, what does that tell you about his chin? All right, come on. That Deontay Wilder will have a tough time against. Is in a bad area, y'all. My bad. Yeah, man, I'm in a bad area. That's I gotta step out a little further. Yeah. Here's what I'm gonna do. Y'all. Let me get to these last comments here. Let me see. Pulev shitting on Wilder. Wilder's just ranked by Heyman. See, this is what he go by, these conspiracy theories. He's going by these conspiracy theories. That's what I'm telling y'all. He's fucking crazy. The dude lacks common sense. Low place I'm talking about. This heat on splitting sections.